Welcome to another episode of Everything Intellectual Property. Today, we have a very special guest with us. This person has created a rake that serves not just one, but three functions. In this way, you no longer have to bend down to get the leaves or debris when doing yard work. Please help me welcome the CEO and founder of Leafinator, Barbara Lyons.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Hello. I'm Barbara, founder of the Leafinator, which is a new ergonomic rake, a new generation of ergonomic multifunctional rakes.
Nice. And I was going to ask you, I'm not sure, I know typically sometimes when I kind of interview people, the device is small enough to the point where the people, they can kind of get an idea or show off, the guests can show off actual product. I'm not sure if you have one with you, but I do have the website here pulled up so that people can get an idea of kind of what the rake is. And you kind of explain a little bit about, I guess, how the rake functions.
Absolutely. It's one device with three functions where you're able to rake the leaves, and then you're able to grasp the leaves by sliding up the sleeve. And once you get a good grasp, then you're able to lift and release them into a bag or bin. Nice. It's a real simple process, easy to use, and very lightweight.
Nice. No, yeah, that does sound pretty simple. And I remember I haven't, I guess, raked the yard here in a long time, but I remember those days raking mom's grass growing up and having to bend down or try to get a shovel to. It was a lot of kind of rigging things up so that you can kind of get the leaves or whatever debris that you are raking up and put them into the bag or the garbage can. And this seems like it kind of eliminates all that by, like you said, having all these functions in one, so you don't have to go get a shovel or something that you're kind of grasping the leaves with along with the rake to dump them into the trash can or the leaf bags. I guess I have a question. What was the inspiration for the product, for the rake? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I came up with this idea from a personal experience of raking leaves and picking them up. It's like a full body workout. It's very strenuous. And I was a lot younger when I came up with this idea, but I had a home that had about 6 mature trees. And I purchased this home in the spring. So what attracted me is all the nice shading and the trees that it provided a lot of beauty to the property. But what I learned real fast is when fall rolled around, we had so many leaves to get up. And I was accustomed to just using a rake and spending days and weekends to get all of these leaves up. Back then, I didn't have a lawn service, so I had to get them up and get my kids to help out. But it still was very time-consuming, very strenuous. And then I also suffered from a lot of pain and stiffness and soreness. And after that, I thought the rake is, the traditional rake only has one function and it's been around for nearly 200 years.
Right.
But what if we had a device that did more than just rake? This is a device that would help a lot of people who still enjoy, doing their yard work, who cannot afford a lawn service, who may suffer from mobility challenges. And plus, it saves them a lot of time when you can get it done a lot faster.
And I was going to say, I love, you said multiple things that I love it with that. I know my mom, she's, approaching 70 and she's still out in the yard doing lawn work, doing yard work. And again, it keeps you young. So I don't think it's nothing necessarily wrong with maybe doing the yard work. But like you said, as you get older, you may especially as you get older, may face mobility issues with being able to bend down, and this being a device that kind of provides for that or provides a solution for that, while still allowing you to do the yard work, which is pretty cool. I guess you said something else in there as far as this was something that you kind of thought of a while ago. What made you wait until all this time to say, okay, I'm going to act on it? Because I know a lot of people I don't want to say a lot of people, but some people that I interview, they talk about how at least maybe the first invention, it was something that I guess they had an idea back when they were younger and they didn't do anything with it. And then years later, they saw it on the store shelves. shelves of stores. And now they're like, okay, with their next invention, they're not going to let that happen. They're going to do something about it. I guess what made you, as you were kind of had this idea many years ago, what made you kind of not go forth with it at that point in time and kind of maybe wait some time? I know life happens and things like that. Was that a part of you kind of not doing it back then as far as kind of going forward?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Like most people, life happens and we're really busy working a job or raising a family. And the ideal came to me and I procrastinated for a few years, not doing anything. But the ideal never went away. It was always there in the back of my mind, especially when the seasons change. And I'm like, man, I really got to bring this rake to market. Here I got all these leaves again. Here we are. So I procrastinated, but it wasn't until like the COVID pandemic that I really started thinking about, I really got to get this out on the market. And I started focusing a lot more. Then I started researching how to get involved in inventor groups and just looking up, what's the step process to bringing this to market. And I was actually trying to make the rake myself, do like a little home prototype type of version.
For sure, which is good. I like that. I like that. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, quite honestly. So that's when I started moving forward. And I was fortunate to meet with an accelerator group that really helped move the needle to the next level.
Okay.
So now I have,
So I was going to ask you, knowing maybe a couple questions, knowing what you know now and having been through the process, do you wish you would have started earlier? Or I know, again, like you said, life happens and COVID kind of maybe provided a great time in terms of people being at home and working remote. But kind of going through this whole process at this point in time, do you wish you started earlier, or you think that maybe it was just kind of the perfect time and kind of knowing what you know now to do it now as opposed to maybe when you originally had the idea? Because I know sometimes, like I talked about earlier, sometimes that invention maybe isn't available when you're ready to do it because maybe you sat on it for too long and somebody else had that idea and kind of came to market with it. So with all that kind of being said, did you wish you did it earlier or not really?
I'm glad you asked that because I don't wish that I had done it earlier. But I did find that the ideal that I had at that time, it pivoted over time. And the first original ideal that I had, you actually had to use, you would have to use almost like 2 pieces to get them up. And then later on, I saw that did come on the market where you're using both your arms and it was 2 pieces. So I believe that by waiting, my ideal got better. And during the patent research, there was nothing else out there that was similar or, just like my ideal. So I'm glad I kind of waited. Nice. Timing, everything's in God's hands. The right timing. So.
Right. No, I like that. And then how was it? Because from my understanding, I know you were in the kind of insurance industry beforehand. How did that maybe help or not help you going as an entrepreneur and kind of an inventor and going through all this? Because I know a lot of times, you had mentioned it earlier, a lot of times people have businesses that start from solutions that they're solving for a problem that they experience. It seems like you had a similar issue where you were experiencing this challenge of picking up leaves and debris and things like that. And now that led to you inventing a rake. But a lot of times, you're learning a lot going through that process, and you don't typically have that entrepreneurship background, so to speak, or maybe even business background. Your skill set and experiences in a totally different thing. So how did you kind of grapple with that, or maybe make sense of, okay, well, I'm not really in this space per se, but I kind of want to get off into this space as far as being an inventor, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur?
I'm glad you asked that, because working at different corporations, you're learning how to, run a business, whether you know it or not. You're coming in contact with a lot of people, and you're learning how to network. You're learning how to small talk that really becomes smart talk, right? Instead of the small talk, you kind of put a twist on that. But throughout the journey, you're learning during that process. And even with the product that with the Leafinator, there are companies that offer like a supplier program or a diversity type program to become one of their suppliers. So I got off into looking at that, and that's a great opportunity for new startups to become a supplier of a larger company that could use the product and through private labeling. So there's just like a lineup of opportunity with a new product that companies can utilize as well to give away as free gifts and just a lot of different opportunity.
And this is very important that you're saying. It's not be interesting to see whether, I know you're kind of in the process of launching this thing, but just curious to see if you maybe had any success with kind of going to one of those companies and always using a product. But a lot of kind of maybe before answering that question, I'm seeing that a lot where I'm bringing on guests, they invented something, and again, just being, one of their big clients is maybe the universities or corporations who kind of buy their gifts for their employees. So it seems like a lot of times what people think, and I guess again a part of this podcast is to try to help people who are maybe on the fence and for whatever reason they have an idea. Everybody has an idea to some extent, but to kind of jump into the game and kind of go through that process of kind of bringing it to market and selling it. And a lot of times when people think they have to sell it, to other consumers, whether that be on Amazon or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times you will find, and I think you're hinting at this, that you can kind of really make a nice living just selling it to corporations or to universities as opposed to having to, sell it to maybe a person on the other side of that. I'm not sure if that's what you're maybe getting at with, kind of having corporations use your product.
Exactly. Your sales channels can range from B2B, which is business to business, or a B2C, which is, your homeowners or your lawn care and landscaping services. Yep. So you need a wide list of customers, not just one or two. So the private labeling like B2B, or even like getting into the big box stores, we're working on, reaching out, which takes time, but that is on my list to reach out and utilize those additional opportunities.
Right. No, yeah. And I love it. Can you talk about, because I was just doing some research beforehand, and you kind of participated in a ton of activities, whether it's showcases or cohorts or kind of pitching and kind of leading to, funding, grants and things like that for the company. Can you talk a little bit about that? I'm not sure if you even did trade shows along the line there, but I know it seems like you have kind of done a ton of that and got a lot of experience. So can you talk a little bit about kind of doing all those activities up to this point?
Absolutely. It's always good to keep learning, to get involved, to network, to meet new people. So over the past 6 months, I've focused on attending trade shows. We just did the Novi Home and Garden Show. We have some upcoming trade shows to attend. And I've been invited to a number of things where we can showcase the Leafinator and allow people to demonstrate or test out the device. So I've also completed some programs such as other cohorts, I just completed the National Entrepreneur Association cohort, and I'm really happy about that because it was 9 weeks. I also completed the Access Resilient cohort, and there are a lot of training out there for new business startup to keep you focused in the right direction, because the journey, is broad, so you want to keep an open mind. Right.
No, yeah, for sure. And you kind of mentioned it earlier. You're thinking that you're initially going to start off going this way, and it's a lot of different pivots that you have kind of throughout the journey, throughout the process. And I would imagine just going to those different, whether it's kind of pitches and things like that, you're getting valuable feedback that you can take in and consider and may lead to kind of changing up things or adding additional components or maybe reducing additional things, which ultimately kind of helps out the product at the end of the day.
Exactly. So, yeah.
So I guess one thing, I know you're full-time with it, but are you kind of full-time to the extent where it's like you're maybe not doing anything else? Because that's one of the maybe challenges or kind of questions that comes up a lot of the times is, okay, when do I go kind of full-time with it in terms of quitting everything else that I had going on and kind of going full-time within a company? Or do I kind of just, okay, I'm working my job, but then I'm also kind of doing a little bit on the side, kind of getting the company built up? How did you kind of approach that situation?
I've been looking at that as well, but we're at the very early stage. We have the working prototype, so we are capturing, we're trying to scale up by capturing quotes from manufacturers so that we can get it out there in the market. But not quite ready yet to quit my job, so I'm not making revenue right now. So
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
pre-revenue. And so once we are making revenue, then we'll look at those other options at that time.
Okay. So, but is the goal maybe to, just from a long-term standpoint, hey, let's kind of make a business or a company where we have number of product lines, or is it to, okay, we're just going to kind of try to sell the Rake or maybe license it, or just kind of focus on the Rake for long term? Do you kind of see how kind of business kind of is?
Yeah.
And I know we'll get off into the C-suite later on, because I thought it's amazing how you did the C-suite, but it seems like just kind of based on how you kind of put things together, you're maybe focusing on, okay, we're going to build something out of this thing where that includes multiple products and things like that.
Yes, that's exactly my primary focus right now, is to grow the company, run the company, and add on additional complementary products. Yeah. So over the next 5-10 years is my focus to run the business.
Nice. And then I guess I have to ask you this, because I know a lot of people who I have on are from Shark Tank, or went on Shark Tank, did that pitch, whether they got a deal or not. You all know that kind of give you a boost to the eyeballs, at least, and maybe sales to the business. Have you ever thought about maybe going on there? I know you're saying you're maybe still earlier in a process, but have you thought about kind of pitching there and kind of put it in, I guess, an application for Shark Tank?
Yeah, Shark Tank is a great opportunity. I have not reached out to them because I don't feel that I'm at the stage yet for a Shark Tank experience. It definitely give you great exposure to a wider audience, but I'm not there yet. That may be something I would want to do once I start making revenue and have a large customer base.
Okay. No, nice. And then, which is kind of more along the lines of my focus, what made you think I need to protect my IP, whether it's the different features of the Rake, whether it's the name Leafinator, because again, I'm not sure, at least speaking for myself, I didn't really understand what IP was or the value of IP as I was growing up. It wasn't until maybe the end of undergrad going into law school that I kind of found out about intellectual property and patents and trademarks and all those things. Is that something that you knew about from the beginning, or was that kind of just as a journey as kind of developing the Rake?
It started early on when I really started focusing in on just how to bring this ideal to market. So when I started attending the Accelerator groups and inventor groups and learning more, I listened to a lot of great speakers who provided invaluable insights on, the step process. So looking into the patent protection started early on. It started when I reached out to a law firm and they were able to do the patent search for me to make certain that I wasn't infringing on other IPs, that my product idea was not already out there on the market. And so that went from the patent search to the provisional patent to get that 12-month place protection. And then from there forward. So I started early. And I was fortunate and blessed to get patented last year on one of the inventions of the Leafinator. So I received my actual patent in August of last year.
Congrats
so
on that.
A big accomplishment.
I was going to say, how was that? It actually saw that on LinkedIn where it was like, hey, this is exciting news. Did you not necessarily feel like a weight lifted off your shoulders? But it seems like when you get news like that, hey, I have an actual patent, it kind of keeps you going, or kind of gives you that boost to kind of keep going, even though maybe the journey, like you said, may be hard to kind of take twists and turns along the way.
Yeah, it gave me a boost, and I was very excited because once you accomplish something that takes so long to get, it's like, wow, I can check this off, but it gives you the motivation to keep going. because, people have more than one patent. And so I also have a patent pending. So I'm hoping and praying that gets approved as well. But it just gives you the motivation to keep going.
And again, people, and I agree with that 100%. And I just, part of the podcast is just having people understand, or the audience understand the value of patents. I'm kind of doing this thing where I do break down Shark Tank episodes, and I know they're on maybe hiatus now until the new season starts, but I've kind of started to go back and maybe do some Where Are They Now videos from back season 1, the earlier seasons. And it's kind of just crazy how I'm coming across episodes where Kevin O'Leary or the other sharks are offering just for the patent. I'll give you $1 million just for the patent. So again, that just shows you how valuable this stuff is. If you have, a good patent that really solves a problem, you almost have kind of two assets where you have the business, but then you also have the IP. And a lot of times the IP is a part of the business, but you can also separate those out where you have kind of the business that I guess sells the product, but then the actual IP that is, essentially owns the product. And again, these patents can be extremely valuable. Now, I think maybe going on, and I'm not sure if you maybe answered this, but did you kind of know about patents before getting off into them, or is it kind of like you said, just going to different shows and hearing people speak about it where you started to gain a knowledge?
I did not know about patents prior to getting involved. It was something I learned going through the journey. Okay. So it's good to hear, that patents are very important and holds value. So, this also is a learning process. So that's good to know.
Nice. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And then you talked a little bit about the Accelerator program. Can you kind of explain a little bit about kind of their job and their function in case the audience want to maybe kind of look into similar Accelerator programs as they're kind of going through their journey? Because there's a lot of different ways to kind of skin this cat, where you can do it yourself, you can get investments, you can go through Accelerator programs. There's a lot of different things to kind of bring that product to market and kind of go through the different stages and protect what you need to protect to get yourself out there, the marketability, the notoriety from you and the product. And it seems like you have kind of chosen an Accelerator program to kind of help you out with this.
I did. And there are a lot of great Accelerator programs and cohorts that take you from point A to point B. And I was fortunate to be accepted into the Centropolis Accelerator cohort program. And it has been very valuable to be part of this group, because before then I just had an ideal, but they were able to take me from ideal to an actual functional working prototype that I can showcase, that I can demonstrate, that I can take images of and put it on my website. And there have been a few refinements. There will always be, iterations or refinements, but they have been very helpful to take me from one level to the next. And they're still working with me to take me even further. So it's always great to get involved and get some help. And, there's only so much we can do ourselves. And so they are a team of experts that do engineering, and they train you and, help you to focus in on growing your business.
And I like something specifically that you said is as far as experts. I know I just started this thing, y'all, it can seem overwhelming having to try to figure out all the different aspects of, I guess, the business, whether it's IP, whether it's, like you said, it's engineering or marketing and things like that. But just being able to have experts that are helping you out with it, that has to be a good feeling, and knowing that, okay, I'm in good hands. And again, I can just call or email or contact somebody who I know is an expert in this particular thing to help out, as opposed to trying to kind of figure it out myself. Because I know a lot of people tend to go to Google University as they're starting out, and Google is a good way to kind of help you out with a lot of things, but just being able to kind of call somebody and have access to somebody who is an expert seems like is pretty helpful as well.
It is. It's very helpful to be able to reach out to someone that can help you understand a process. And they have been there to do that.
Got it. So is this Accelerator program, is this something that's kind of a stateside here in Michigan, or is it something that's kind of a national thing? I'm sure that they have accelerator programs exist all over the country, but is the program that you're going through specifically, that's something that's kind of specific to the state of Michigan, or is it kind of, do they have presence outside of Michigan?
I believe Centropolis Accelerator is just statewide in Michigan.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so yeah, the audience, I encourage you to, at least wherever you're in, whether you're in Texas or Florida, to kind of check out accelerator programs that are kind of stateside or within your state to help you out as you go through the process. And to the extent that you're in Michigan, Centropolis is somebody that you should consider as an accelerator program. I feel like I should be getting some type of marketing credit for this. But nonetheless,
they're a great program. Yeah.
Nice. So then what would you say up until this point in time? I know you're still earlier on. What would you say has been your biggest breakthrough? Was it getting a patent? Was it getting having that working prototype? Or what would you say has been a biggest breakthrough for you at this point?
The biggest breakthrough through this journey so far has been twofold. It's getting the patent. That was really great accomplishment. And then secondly, to take this ideal in my head to an actual working prototype. So that was a big breakthrough as well, to actually have something to show and demonstrate. Great breakthrough.
And I think that's a very I don't want to say underwhelming, something that's out there that's not really appreciated as much. Yeah, underappreciated. That's the word that I'm looking for. To actually not only take something that's in your head, but to bring it to life. And not only bring it to life, but have it such that other people is buying it and want to use it. Because I know we talked earlier about solving, essentially starting business around products that kind of have solved a problem for you personally. But what you will find out is it's a lot more of the people in the world that are experiencing those same problems. So to the extent that you can, like you said, take the ideal and kind of have a working prototype or a working product, you will find out that other people were experiencing those same problems and will kind of buy your product to actually solve their problems. So, I think that very is a underappreciated aspect of this whole process. It's just starting a business where you're taking something from in your head, making an actual product, and then people purchasing that product.
Absolutely. Big accomplishment.
Yep. So congrats to you on that. On the flip side, we know that kind of business is not just kind of this straight line here. It's kind of more of a sine wave where you have the ups and downs. What would you say was the biggest challenge that you have had up until this point in time with the business and kind of developing the Rake?
My biggest challenge was actually making like homemade prototypes and going to stores and buying pieces and parts myself to try and put together something that I can present and say, this is how, this is my ideal for my head. This is like the first version of, what I can come up with. And then having someone taking it from like a Frankenstein prototype to an actual nice looking prototype that you could actually show off, right? So, and then the other challenges, of course, is marketing it. We have access to a lot of social media and platforms, but utilizing them in the correct way is very complicated because there are experts in social marketing. And then if you don't have that skill set, you're trying to figure out exactly how to use it. And of course, there's a cost associated with advertising and marketing. So that would be thirdly, my next challenge is raising funds to scale up or market the correct way.
No, and I guess starting with the last one, I was talking to Dr. Dave Smith, who invented the Q collar that's worn by a lot of NFL players and hockey players and players in professional sports to prevent head injuries. And he was talking about how you're not going to get investments if you don't have that patent. And so that's a very big part of it. As you acquiring that patent or having an issue patent, has that maybe helped out with communication as it relates to investments? Have you kind of seen that at all, or maybe not really at this point in time?
I'm really glad you asked that because so far in reaching out for funding, I have not utilized the fact that I have a patent, but I would definitely incorporate that going forward into the request. So,
yeah, exactly.
I would strengthen it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll list like I know you said you have one issued and another one or two pending. I'll definitely list all those pending because it seems like that, whatever reason can have. I know everybody from an investor standpoint looks at things differently, but it seems like to at least some investors, having that IP and multiple IP patents and things like that protected will essentially, like you said, help strengthen your case for sure.
Right. It definitely would help validate the request. So
Right. Okay. And then as far as those other two in terms of the marketing and whatnot, I guess how have you kind of dealt with that or tried to provide solutions to it? It seems like maybe the Accelerator is a part of it or helps out at least a little bit with kind of marketing and things like that. What would you say you have done to help out with those challenges, overcome those challenges related to kind of the company and marketing and things like that?
right now, I'm looking at ways to raise funding because I don't feel that I'm at the stage right now to get like a big time loan or anything because I'm pre-revenue.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at other options like pitch competitions that offers funding or grants and pitch competitions is what I'm going to focus in on over the next several months.
Okay.
And I guess the better I get at pitching, the more I can increase my chances of winning.
Hey, how has that process been? Because again, we talk about kind of going from your prior career and whatnot, where pitching and speaking and things like that maybe not as important, but now in terms of the business and you starting a business and trying to grow the business, that may be something that now we have to get better at. So I guess how has that been, especially compared to maybe what kind of the day job is or how your experience has been up to this point, which may have not, you may have not needed to be good at kind of pitching or maybe talking to large groups of people?
Yeah, it's for me, it's always been a challenge to speak in front of a large group of people. Okay. But I've learned that the more you do it, the better you get at it, just like with anything. Yep. And especially when you win or, get awarded something. So I was just actually awarded my first $500 pitch. I came in second place, and this was through Access Resilient Cohort. So it's always good to get involved with the cohorts and learn more and just increase not only your product awareness, but to meet new people and network. Because, you may not, you never know, you may meet that person who can take you to the next level.
And that's a big part of this thing is what they say is about who you know, not necessarily about what you know. So yeah, that networking, that's kind of how I have lived my life in terms of trying to network and be intentional about networking, just kind of meeting the right people. So I'm glad you had said that because that is a big part of it. I know you talked about some different products, and I guess we're talking kind of 5 years, 10 years down the line. Do you have an ideal? I don't want you to kind of give away anything that's kind of secret sauce at this point, but do you have an ideal of what other maybe products that you want to invent or come up with surrounding a Leafinator?
Absolutely. When it comes to yard work, you're not just utilizing, rakes and other tools. And there's so many things that help you, get a nice, clean yard. So I'm thinking of another prototype. I mean, not a prototype, but another product that go hand in hand. It will complement the Leafinator. So I definitely have something on my mind to bring next as a complementary product, and a lot sooner than 5 years from now. Hopefully it's, as soon as I get the Leafinator launched to market, hopefully the complementary product would be months behind it.
Nice. And that's the other good thing about kind of going through the process. I know entrepreneurs, sometimes it kind of has gotten watered down here just because everybody kind of call themselves an entrepreneur. But one of the good things is it is almost like a skill set that you learn, much like you go to law school or much like you go to engineering, in terms of being able to kind of run a business and really having that experience going through it. With entrepreneurship. And I was going to make a point with that it just escaped me. That point I was going to make with. So then now, like you said, it took you however many years or months or whatever to come up with the Leafinator. But now with these additional future products, I'm assuming that time is going to be a lot shorter because you kind of know the process already and know what to do, know what to expect, which whether it's a product related with the Leafinator or maybe another company that you start later down the line, you almost kind of know that the process of how to bring something to market, create prototypes and things like that, which now it allows you to kind of come to market with things a lot faster than maybe the Rake, which was your original product. Would you tend to agree with that?
Absolutely, I agree with that, because once you go down the journey once, the next time around you will, it'll be a lot more refined. You'll save more money, not waste a lot of money on, what to do. And you'll know what to do so you can get there a lot faster,
Yep.
So
Definitely.
experiences, having experience really improves the next process.
Nice. No, yeah, I definitely agree with that. So then I guess one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, the importance for you is not only having a woman-owned company, but it seems like you have the C-suite with the Chief Technology Officer, Kiana Evans, the Chief Marketing Officer, Frankie Sims, and then with the Chief HR Officer, Yolanda. All of these are Black women. What was the importance for you to kind of have, I guess, diversity and inclusion and kind of similar representation in these C-suite positions for your company?
Well, I definitely do plan. These were my immediate outreach to get, they're really volunteers to help me out with everything that's required to stay on top of things. So I definitely want to expand my employment base so there's more diversity and inclusion.
Gotcha.
So this is just the initial stage.
Got you. And that's, like you said, it's just so many parts of the business that just being able to rely on others who have expertise in areas that you don't, just seems like it kind of helps out and get you where you're trying to go a lot faster than it would have if you're trying to do everything by yourself, which we all know it's going to take a lot longer trying to do everything by yourself.
Of course.
So then kind of wrapping up with a few last minute questions here. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs? And kind of what I mean with that, like somebody who's almost playing a double Dutch game where they're kind of, okay, do I go into like entrepreneurship? And because we all have ideas. That's one of the things, me being a patent attorney, when I tell people that, the first thing they say to me is, I have an idea. And like if I had a dollar for every time somebody told me that, I wouldn't be doing any of this. But then it's okay, you have an idea. What do you do with this? So for those people who maybe they have ideas, but they're looking to maybe do something with them, but they just kind of don't know maybe what's going on, what advice would you give to those aspiring entrepreneurs, seeing that as though you have kind of gone through the process and is still going through the process here with the Leafinator and your Rake?
Yeah. Well, my advice would be to stay resilient, stay adaptable, because there's always change. There's a lot of valuable information with change, a lot of things that you can learn. I would also say stay focused. And the biggest part is get started. A lot of people procrastinate because they don't know how to get started. But just get started, do the research, find out how to get started, and just take the first step, take the big leap, as you would say. So, and keep in mind that just getting started, there's this old quote that I love. It says that just keep in mind, you'll never lose. You either win or you learn. So you either learn or win, but you never lose. So through the process, just get started.
I like that. And then I guess lastly here, how can they follow you? I'm not sure if the product is available for purchase yet. I know you said that you guys were still wrapping up things on a prototype or whatnot, but number one, how can they follow you? And then two, when does the product come out and how can they actually purchase the product when it comes out?
Great question. So to stay connected, we're on, you can connect with us on social media. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also go to the website at leafinator.com. You can join our wait list to sign up for updates to keep, updated. I'll send a newsletter out every month to keep you updated and to on a product launch. And also the product is available for pre-order. So on the website, you can pre-order or you can submit a letter of intent for larger quantities. Those options are available on the website again at leafinator.com.
Okay, nice. And then I guess I did just come up maybe with one last question here. And have you thought about doing any crowdfunding campaigns such as a Kickstarter or Indiegogo? I know a lot of guests that I have, that's something that they kind of came up with just kind of maybe prove out or maybe get some money to actually manufacture this thing, but kind of prove out, hey, whether or not people kind of really wants this. So people, I guess I'm not too familiar with the Kickstarter and the Indiegogo, but it's pretty much a platform where people can go and kind of essentially not purchasing a product, but they know they're not going to get into later. And that way you can kind of get funding for, making that maybe initial purchase order with the actual product. Is that something that you have thought about or considered or whatnot for the Leafinator?
Absolutely. Kickstarter and Indiegogo is a real big deal. I would love to do that. The process is learning how to get it all set up so that you can do it. You want to do if you do it, you want to do it correctly, right? You want to make certain that you cover all the bases so you enter it correctly and get the big results. So definitely plan to do that hopefully soon. And looking for any, input on how to get it done.
Okay. Oh, nice. So I think she said a lot of things, valuable things. Audience dropped a lot of jewels. I think one of the biggest things was, hey, just get started. I know we all love to procrastinate, and that goes for me. I know different things in my life. I got more procrastination than I should. But again, I think that's good words or a good reminder just to get started, and you're going to learn a lot about the process. You're going to network and meet hopefully the right people that will help you out throughout the process, but definitely get started. And again, you have the contact information. I will leave it in the description once this video comes out so they can follow you on social media platforms, LinkedIn, IG. I'll put the link to the website so people can go check that out and, hey, purchase one of these things. Like I said, just bending down, not having those back pains and things like that from bending down. I'm not that old, but my body is not. I'm not 20 something no more, so it take a little longer to recover from movements and things like that. So this is a way that whether you have mobility issues, don't have mobility issues, something that, like you said, make it more efficient, make it easier. To get the job done, and she'll be coming out with more products, so be on the lookout for that. Like I said, definitely go check her out, plug in with her different social media platforms to kind of stay up to date of what's going on with the Leafinator. And till next time, audience, we will see you later.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.